Exposed. CEO chooses mistress over wife, but hidden truth reveals a life-changing transformation. Daniel Hartman stood in front of the full-length mirror, adjusting his tie with trembling hands. He had it all, or so it seemed. A thriving career as CEO, a beautiful home in Maplewood, and a family that loved him without question. But beneath the polished surface, his heart raced with an unsettling restlessness. Suddenly, the life he once treasured felt suffocating. The aroma of fresh-cut grass wafted in through the window, mingling with the sound of children laughing outside. Yet all he could sense was the gnawing discomfort within. When the news broke, whispers flitting through the neighborhood like wildfire, it felt impossible. Daniel had chosen Olivia, a striking colleague with a whirlwind spirit, over Sarah, his college sweetheart, the steadfast heart of their family. The community gasped in disbelief. How could he betray the very woman who had stood by him through his rise? The warmth of barbecues and the laughter of children faded, replaced with murmurings of judgment that permeated Maplewood like a dark cloud. Sarah, ever the beacon of grace, was left to grapple with the humiliation. Her friends gathered, holding her tight, words of loyalty and strength echoing in her ears. Yet the pain cut deep. Amid the chaos of his betrayal, a crushing weight settled on Daniel's chest, threatening to suffocate him. Each attempt to rationalize his actions only tangled him further in a web of regret and guilt. He chased after Olivia, but the chase felt hollow. One evening, while volunteering at a local shelter, a group of veterans shared their stories of sacrifice. Their tales rang with honor and resilience, striking deep within Daniel. Suddenly, he saw the truth. Success wasn't marked by corporate gains, it's measured in the love we nurture at home. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Driven by guilt and an urgent desire for redemption, Daniel plunged into community meetings and volunteer work, trying to reconnect with the town he had once loved. Yet, with each step, he felt the community's contempt. Neighbors who had once cheered him on turned their backs, leaving him alone in the fallout. Every glance of pity from old friends reminded him of the chasm he had created as he struggled to win back Sarah's trust. Each moment felt like he was walking a tightrope, teetering on the edge of despair. Would love prevail, or had he shattered his family beyond repair? The pressure mounted as he wondered. Can one truly rebuild trust after such a profound betrayal? With his once idyllic life on the brink of collapse, the nagging question loomed larger as the shadows of his decisions closed in around him. Could he truly transform before it was too late? The sun rose timidly over Maplewood, casting a soft glow that did little to lift Daniel's heavy heart. He stood by the kitchen window, watching as the world outside buzzed with life, a stark contrast to his own sense of paralysis. The children played tag on the lawn, their joyous laughter piercing through his thoughts. It was a reminder of everything he had risked and lost, and the weight of his choices felt heavier by the second as days turned into weeks. Daniel kept his distance from the people he once called friends. He tried to engage with old acquaintances at the grocery store, only to feel the chill of their turned backs or the distant murmurs that trailed after him. Just a month ago, he had been at the center of his circle, hosting parties where laughter echoed long into the night. Now, the silence of his existence was deafening. He knew he had to talk to Sarah. No amount of community service could erase what he'd done. But every time he picked up the phone, panic would grip him, squeezing out the courage he needed to dial her number. One evening, while standing in the mirror, tie loose around his neck, the reflection staring back at him like a stranger, he made a decision. It wasn't just about seeking forgiveness anymore. It was about proving he could change. He would meet her, face to face, and speak the words that had lodged in his throat all this time. The next morning, he drove to Sarah's workplace. His heart raced with each mile. The familiar road twisted by memories. Their first date, late-night drives, the promise of a future together. He parked, fingers sweating against the cool steering wheel. Taking a deep breath, he stepped out and made his way to the entrance of the quaint little art gallery she managed. A bell rang as he walked in, breaking the silence. Sarah looked up from behind the front desk, her expression shifting from surprise to something unreadable. Her long hair framed a face that still made his heart skip, but her eyes? They were guarded. The softness he once adored replaced by a steeliness he hadn't seen before. "Daniel." Her voice was calm, yet edged with ice. "Can we talk?" he managed, feeling smaller than ever. "I don't know if there's anything left to say." Her gaze dropped to the desk, the tension between them palpable. "I need to say I'm sorry, and I know that doesn't really mean much right now." He took a step closer, desperate for a shred of understanding. "I messed up. I hurt you. I see that now. Do you?" She shot back, finally meeting his eyes. She was holding back, but he could see the hurt dancing just beneath her composed exterior. "I've been trying to find a way to change to make things right," he stated, urgency creeping into his tone. "It's hard, I know. I don't deserve your trust, but I want to start again. Not just for us, but for me. I want to be a better man." Silence enveloped them, thick and suffocating. Daniel felt the uncertainty radiating from her, molding into a quiet storm. Did he believe what he said? Could he truly become someone different? "I need to think," Sarah finally replied, her voice barely above a whisper. Daniel nodded, feeling the ground beneath him tremble. This was far from over. The journey was just beginning. As he walked away, the ache in his heart felt heavier. There were no guarantees, but what he knew was this. The road to redemption was paved with honesty, and he was ready to take the first step. But deep down, he wondered, would Sarah ever believe in him again? And as the sun dipped below the horizon, washing the world in shades of crimson, a new question also formed in his mind: was love strong enough to heal the deepest wounds? Daniel woke up the next morning feeling a little lighter, as if the weight of yesterday's confrontation had somehow shifted. He still had a long way to go, but at least he had taken the first step. A tiny spark ignited within him, a flicker of hope that change was truly possible. The morning sun crept through his bedroom window, bathing the room in soft warmth, but he couldn't shake the nagging feeling of uncertainty about Sarah's decision. He poured himself a cup of coffee, the rich aroma filling the air, something he used to savor. Now it felt almost foreign, the taste of it bitter in comparison to the sweetness he longed for in his life. He settled at the kitchen table and opened his notebook, a blank page staring back at him, daring him to make sense of it all. With a pen in hand, he started to jot down his thoughts, trying to construct a path towards the person he wanted to be. Honesty, patience, dedication, he muttered under his breath. Each word felt like a lifeline, a guideline to keep himself anchored. But with each stroke of his pen, doubt seeped in. What if Sarah never forgave him? What if he was simply chasing shadows in a world that had already moved on? After finishing his coffee, Daniel decided to take a walk. The sun was bright, a cheerful contrast to the turmoil in his heart. As he threaded through Maplewood's quiet streets, glimpsing familiar sights that felt both comfortingly nostalgic and painfully distant, he passed by the park where they used to sit on benches, dreaming of their future. Now, it was just a reminder of everything that felt lost that it wasn't long before he found himself standing outside Sarah's gallery again. The familiar bell chimed as he stepped inside. The gallery was empty but for a few pieces on display, the silence echoing his heartbeat. He felt the familiar pang, the urgency to reach out, to connect. Just as he turned to leave, Sarah's voice broke through the quiet. "Daniel?" He turned, his stomach flipping at the sight of her. Her hair fell around her shoulders, and in that moment, she looked both fragile and strong. The air was thick with unspoken words. "Hey," he managed, his voice barely louder than a whisper. "Can we talk?" she asked, her tone softening, even if her expression still carried a touch of hesitation. "Please," he said, desperation creeping in. They moved to a small back room adorned with even more art. The walls, painted deep colors, felt like a refuge away from the world. Daniel noticed a piece hanging there, a fractured mirror reflecting angles of light in chaotic patterns. "Do you see this?" she asked, gesturing to the artwork. "It reminds me of life. It's beautiful but broken, just like us." The vulnerability in her voice struck a chord. "I know I've broken things, Sarah. I can't change the past. But if I can't have a chance to fix what's wrong, I want to know how to move forward." Tears glistened in her eyes, but she held them back. "I want to believe you," she said, her voice trembling. "But can you truly change? Can we heal?" He stepped closer, the urge to reach for her nearly overwhelming. "I can try. I want to fight for us, for whatever this could become. I'll show you." As the weight of the moment settled around them, a silence enveloped the air, heavy yet charged with possibility. Daniel felt as though the universe was holding its breath, waiting alongside him for her reply. "Then show me," she finally said, her voice stronger but still edged with caution. Daniel nodded, resolve flooding his veins. He could feel it, not just the hope of rekindling their love but the promise of rebuilding himself right alongside it. But as he stood there, heart racing, he couldn't shake the worry. Was he ready for the reality of change? Did he truly have the strength to follow through? The questions loomed, heavy as ever, as he prepared to take the next step forward. But deep down, a thought lingered: could the journey to redemption cost him not only his past but also the heart of the woman he still loved? Daniel could feel his heart pounding in his chest as he stood there, trying to find the right words. Everything felt fragile, as if any wrong move could shatter the delicate moment they were sharing. Sarah's presence was electric, charged with unsaid fears and burgeoning hope, and he realized just how much he craved that connection. "I know I've let you down," he began, his voice steadier than he felt. "But I'm not that person anymore. That man was lost in his own mistakes. I'm trying to find my way through this." He watched her closely, seeing the flicker of something, maybe hope, in her eyes, even as uncertainty still clouded her expression. She crossed her arms, a protective gesture. Her vulnerability was palpable, and he wished he could reach through that barrier. "Daniel, wanting to change is one thing. Actually doing it is another. Takes more than words." He nodded, understanding. "I get that, and I'm willing to put in the work. I want to prove it, not just to you but also to myself. I need to learn to be better for you, better for me." Sarah's gaze softened, but still there was hesitation. "What if you fail again? What if you slip back into old habits?" "Then I'll learn from it," he replied, determination bubbling to the surface. "I know it won't be easy, but I can't imagine my life without you. I'd rather fight for us than let the fear of failure stop me." She studied him, weighing his sincerity. The tension in the air felt thick yet oddly comforting. It was a shared uncertainty, a fragile hope they could choose to embrace together. "Okay," she said slowly, the hint of a smile pulling at her lips. "But know this, Daniel. If you're serious, it's going to take time. Healing isn't instantaneous. I need to feel safe and valued again." "I promise," he said, a wave of relief mixed with anticipation washing over him. "I'll do whatever it takes. Just give me that chance." Just then, the phone in Sarah's pocket buzzed, breaking the moment. She pulled it out and frowned, glancing at the screen. "I need to take this," she said, her tone shifting slightly. "It's work." Daniel's heart sank a little at the interruption, a reminder that life didn't pause for emotional revelations. "Of course," he replied, forcing a smile even though his gut twisted. He couldn't help but feel like their moment was slipping through his fingers as she stepped outside to take the call. Daniel wandered back to the exquisite artwork that surrounded him. His fingers brushed against the textured surfaces of the paintings, a stark contrast to the turmoil inside him. His thoughts raced, layered with both hope and fear. Could he really handle the pressure of change? And would Sarah be there for him every step of the way? When Sarah returned, she looked a bit shaken, her brow furrowed. "I didn't mean for that to interrupt, it's okay," he assured her quickly, sensing the weight of something else behind her expression. She took a breath, as if preparing to share something important. "Daniel, there's something I need to tell you. It's about my exhibition opening next week and a decision that could change everything." What kind of decision? He asked, adrenaline kicking in. His stomach nodded with anticipation. Her gaze dropped for a moment before meeting his, filled with a mixture of resolve and vulnerability. I might have to choose between my art career and my commitment to before she could finish. The phone buzzed again, this time even louder in the stillness. The moment felt heavy, pregnant with possibilities and uncertainties. He watched as she hesitated, her thoughts clearly racing. Daniel, she whispered, a tremor in her voice. What if this isn't just about us anymore? In that split second, Daniel realized something profound. The next step forward wouldn't just be about reclaiming their love. It could potentially affect the very futures they envisioned for themselves. Could he be ready for what lay ahead? The air between them felt like it was charged with raw electricity, each breath heavier than the last. Daniel could feel the weight of Sarah's revelations settling in, sending ripples of uncertainty through him. What do you mean? He managed to say, though the words felt inadequate. Her eyes held a mix of fear and determination, as if she was weighing the cost of her next words. If I pursue this exhibition, it could take me away from everything and everyone I care about. It means spending time in New York, maybe even longer. I need to think about what that means for us. A chill ran through Daniel. But you love your art. You've worked hard for this opportunity. I do, she agreed, and her voice was softer now, less guarded. But I don't want to lose what we have. I can't be halfway in either place. The thought of Sarah gone, even temporarily, twisted like a knife in his heart. He understood her struggle but felt helpless at that moment. So you're saying it's either the exhibition or us? Not exactly, she said, running her fingers through her hair as if trying to untangle her own thoughts. But it means making a choice. To really commit to one path. I want to be sure of what I'm doing before moving forward. His mind raced, the implications of her words settling heavily within him. He thought back to their conversation, the promise of change, the potential future. Sarah, I want you to follow your dreams. I really do. But can we find a way to support each other through this? I don't want to lose you, not now. Me neither, she whispered. Her vulnerability hung like a fragile thread between them, seemingly ready to snap at any moment. She stepped a little closer, a yearning in her eyes that seemed to echo his own. I need you to know that I'm not leaving you behind. But if I don't chase this, I'll always wonder. And if I don't feel that support from you, it's going to fracture what we're trying to build. Every word she spoke struck a chord deep within him. This path was unpredictable, open-ended, and packed with risks. But that was the nature of growth, wasn't it? I'll be here. Whatever happens, I'll be your biggest fan, he said. His voice firm despite the sea of doubts swirling in his mind. Sarah's eyes glistened, and a small smile broke through the tension. Promise? Promise, he responded, feeling the strength of that commitment wash over him. But, Sarah, what if I need you here while you're pursuing this? What if this isn't just about your career, but about building a future together? The question hung in the air like a promise unspoken. He could see her weighing it, envisioning possibilities. Maybe it could be both, she said, her voice threaded with hope. If I could find a way to balance both worlds, would you be willing to stay in the picture? Absolutely, Daniel said, feeling a surge of hope. Let us navigate this together. One step at a time. They stood in silence, the road ahead uncertain but shared. Someone nearby laughed loudly, breaking the moment, and they both turned to look. Daniel couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning of a much larger story. But before he could dwell further, Sarah's phone buzzed once more. This time, her brow furrowed even deeper. Oh no, it's my boss again. I really should take this, she hesitated. Glancing back at him, her expression caught between duty and desire. Go. I'll be right here, he urged, though a tiny flicker of anxiety flared in his chest. I'll be back, she said softly, her words echoing in his mind as she walked away as she disappeared into the crowd. A thought pierced through him. If Sarah was taking this leap into the unknown, what did that mean for Daniel's own journey? Was he truly ready to face his own fears, to change completely? And perhaps more importantly, Could love survive the trials ahead? He took a deep breath, the uncertainty now a pressing weight on his shoulders. Whatever lay ahead, everything felt like it was about to shift, and he had to be ready for it. Daniel shifted his weight, hands tucked deep into his pockets as he watched Sarah walk away. The sounds of the bustling crowd faded, the laughter and chatter becoming a distant hum in his ears. He leaned against the cool brick wall of the gallery, grappling with a storm of emotions. Each gust of wind felt like uncertainty brushing against his skin. For a moment, all he could think about was her absence. The way she looked when she spoke, vulnerable yet ready to fly, scared him. What if she really did go to New York? What if art consumed her, and he became just another distant memory? Those thoughts wrapped around his chest, tightening like a vice. He pulled out his phone, staring at the blank screen, torn between wanting to reach out and needing to give her space. His fingers danced over the screen, hovering over a message that would bridge the distance between them. A lifeline he hoped would keep their connection intact. But he hesitated. Could he sound supportive without leaking his insecurities? Just then, the gallery doors swung open, and Sarah stepped out, her brow slightly furrowed as she ended her call. He noticed the way her shoulders sagged, her energy dimming with the weight of work and expectations pressing down on her. It was as if she was wrestling with two parallel lives, the artist and the partner, and he wished he could ease her struggle, to lift that burden even for a moment. Hey, she smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. Sorry about that. Just work stuff. But I think I've got some clarity. Clarity? He perked up, heart racing at the promise of her revelation. She took a deep breath, her gaze flickering towards the bustling street behind her. It made me realize that while the exhibition is important, I still need you in my life, Daniel. I want to figure out how to make it work for both of us. Relief washed over him, warming the chill of uncertainty. So, you're not pushing me away? Not at all, she said, taking a step closer. But I'm scared. It's like standing at the edge of a cliff. I want to jump, but what if I fall? His heart ached with her honesty. Falling is part of it, right? But we can hold each other's hands while we leap. You're not alone in this. A silence enveloped them, filled with a mix of hope and fear. It was a fragile moment, yet it held an undeniable strength. Just then, a couple strolled past, laughing, blissfully unaware of the weight of their conversation. They exchanged a glance that sent a jolt through Daniel, a shared understanding of the struggle to balance love and ambition. I need to be honest, Sarah said slowly, her eyes serious. If I'm going to do this, I need your honest thoughts, your support. I don't want to feel like I'm tearing us apart to pursue this dream. I can do that, he assured her, determination threading through his voice. Just promise me that we keep talking about it. No matter what, communication is key. Always, she replied. Then a sudden grin broke through her earlier strain. I guess we're a team, aren't we? Always a team, he echoed, a smile breaking over his face too. For the first time that day, things felt a little lighter, a little more hopeful. As they lingered in each other's gaze, there was a sense of a tentative truce between the dreams they harbored and the love they nurtured. Every moment felt alive, full of possibilities, but the weight of their decisions loomed over them. I need to figure out a lot now, she said, breaking the moment, a hint of nervousness creeping in again. But there is something I need to show you. What is it? Daniel asked, curiosity piquing. Just come with me, she urged, excitement flickering in her expression. I think you'll really love this place. His heart raced, but not from anxiety this time. A surge of anticipation coursed through him, igniting a spark within. As they turned to walk together, their hands brushed, and all the worries began to wash away. But deep down, an unsettling thought remained. What could happen if they didn't find a balance? What if supporting her dreams led to their own fracture? He couldn't shake the feeling that this was more than just a pivotal moment in their relationship. Whatever awaited them behind that door could change everything, yet for better or worse. Daniel took a deep breath, ready to plunge into the unknown beside her. That leap could lead them somewhere beautiful or shatter everything they built together in the blink of an eye. What awaited them on the other side? As they walked, Sarah led Daniel down a narrow alleyway lined with graffiti and the occasional potted plant. The city felt alive around them, vibrant colors splashing across worn streets. Yet a hush hung between them, thick with anticipation. Daniel's mind raced with thoughts. He felt like a tightrope walker, balancing between trust and fear. "It's just a few more blocks," Sarah said, glancing over her shoulder, a spark in her eyes. "I promise you'll love it." "What is it?" he asked, his curiosity piqued. The energy radiating from her was infectious, and he couldn't help but feel a growing excitement, weaving through the uncertainty that still loomed overhead. "You'll see," she replied, her voice light. The corners of his lips formed a smile. It was moments like this, her enthusiasm, the way her eyes lit up when he felt an unstoppable urge to protect what they had. They crossed streets, dodged pedestrians, and soon reached a quaint little shop. The sign above read Artisan Gallery, an intimate space filled with local artists. They entered. The scent of new paint and fresh canvases filled the air. Warm light illuminated the small gallery, encasing everything in a golden glow. "This is it," she said, almost breathlessly. "I wanted to show this to you." Daniel stepped closer, taking in the eclectic mix of paintings, sculptures, and photography. Every piece told a story, each color bleeding into another like the emotions swirling in his chest. His heart swelled at the sight of the paintings, but mostly he was captivated by how passionate Sarah looked. "Isn't it amazing?" she breathed. "These artists pour their souls into their work, just like I want to do." He nodded, feeling the warmth radiating from her excitement. "It really is. You belong here with work like this." His eyes traced the contours of a vibrant abstract piece. It felt alive, just like the conversation they had earlier. "Exactly. This gallery is all about supporting local artists. They even have programs to help emerging talent. I dream of having my work showcased here." She paused, biting her lip as she glanced at him. "I want us to be a part of this community together." Daniel's chest tightened. The way she said together sent shivers down his spine. He wanted this for her. He wanted her to soar. Still, doubt crept in like shadows. "But what about New York? If you get that opportunity, it could change everything." "I know," she sighed, her brow furrowing again. "But maybe I don't have to choose? Maybe there's a way to pursue my art here while keeping us connected?" Hope flickered within him, but anxieties lingered. "That sounds great, but what if you take off and chase the big city dream? Am I just left wondering?" Her gaze softened, and she reached for his hand. "You won, TB. I promise to communicate. Always. But you have to believe in me and us no matter where I go." "I do believe in you," he said, squeezing her hand gently. "You have this fire in you that can't be contained." For a moment, they both stood bathed in the gallery's warm glow, surrounded by dreams and aspirations. But as their fingers entwined, a deeper fear settled in. What if love and ambition were not meant to coexist in the same space? Just then, a voice interrupted, filling the serene atmosphere with enthusiasm. "Welcome. You two must be new around here. This gallery showcases artists ready to take their leap. It's an incredible community." Daniel felt a swell of anxiety welling up again. He glanced at Sarah, her expression brightening at the thought of joining this vibrant world. "Do you see?" she said, her excitement bubbling over. "This is where I want to share my stories." "Yeah," he replied, trying to shake off his worries. But the undercurrent in his thoughts weighed heavily. "But then what about our story?" Sarah's eyes searched his, and he could see the battle inside her, a fight between passion and the risk of losing what they had. As their eyes locked, an unexpected vulnerability filled the air. Could they really manage this balance? As he stood there, he realized he was on the edge once again, teetering between hope and fear. Daniel shifted his weight, watching her intently, wanting nothing more than to reassure her. But just like the artists he admired, his thoughts echoed their uncertainties. The looming question of whether both their dreams could intertwine without unraveling their bond. And then, the artist in him dared to wonder. Could this be the moment everything changed? Or would it lead them each down separate paths? The gallery pulsed with energy, and he felt the ground shift beneath them. What would they decide as the crossroads approached? As Sarah admired more paintings, Daniel felt the tension build inside him. The brightly colored canvases that surrounded them felt like a contrast to the gray clouds gathering in his mind. He wanted to support her, truly he did, but there was that nagging worry gnawing at him, a fear that they were on the brink of something too big to handle. "Look at this one," she said, her voice tinged with awe. She moved to a large canvas, a swirling mess of blues and yellows, chaotic yet beautiful. It was a storm that seemed to dance with light. "It's so alive." He forced a smile and stepped closer to join her. "It is," he replied, though his voice felt flat against the weight pressing down on him. "I love how it captures emotion," she continued, her gaze never wavering from the painting. "I want my art to connect with people just like this." "Right, and you will," he said, though he wondered if connecting with people meant disconnecting from him. Daniel's heart raced. They were standing at the edge of a decision that could tear them apart. Why did it feel like they were already fighting? "Do you think," he hesitated, searching for the right words, "do you think it's possible to stay here and make a name for yourself and still hold on to what we have?" Her eyes turned serious then, searching his face for the sincerity behind his words. "I want to believe it is," she whispered, her fingers absently tracing the painting's frame. "But what happens if I get that big break? If everything I've dreamed of starts taking off? Then what about us? I don't want to feel like I'm holding you back," he said, frustration spilling out. "But the thought of losing you terrifies me." Sarah turned to face him, and for a moment, neither spoke. The silence wrapped around them like a heavy blanket, a pause filled with unspoken fears. "I'm scared, too," she finally admitted, her voice trembling. "But I can't ignore this fire inside me. It's part of who I am. And I want you to be part of that journey. But what if it leads us in different directions?" Daniel swallowed hard. It was one thing to dream about her success, but another to acknowledge that it might mean navigating a world without him. He wanted to fight for their love, but doubt loomed large. "Could this place become a foundation for you?" he asked, looking deeply into her eyes. "Something that grounds your art and our relationship?" Her gaze flickered as if she was pondering the idea. "Maybe," she began slowly, "but I don't want to be tied to something that holds me back." Each word hit him like a punch. They were both wrestling with the same fears. The gallery, the vibrant art around them, it was everything they could hope for. Yet it was threatening to separate their intertwined paths. "We have to find a way to merge our dreams," Daniel said, desperation creeping into his tone. "Can we really keep fighting for us while you chase what you want? Maybe it's not just about chasing, maybe it's about finding a new path that includes both," she suggested. Her mind seemed to race with possibilities. "But what if that means redefining everything we know?" Daniel countered, his heart sinking at the challenge. He felt the heaviness of the moment stretch on. "Then we redefine it together," she replied, determination shining in her eyes. "And if that means making tough choices, then I'm willing to try." "Are you sure?" he asked, still held captive by doubt. Before Sarah could respond, the vibrant energy in the gallery shifted again, disrupted by a newcomer who entered with the kinetic buzz of certainty. "Ah, a new dynamic. You two have so much potential," said an older woman, her smile wide and welcoming. "Every artist here started with a leap of faith. You just have to decide what that leap looks like." Daniel's heart raced again. But this time, it was with a mixture of apprehension and hope. He felt the urgency. Standing there in that moment, they were forced to consider everything, what their future could mean, what they were sacrificing by clinging to safety. Could it really be so simple as making a choice? Or would their leap lead them to splintering paths? As the vibrant gaze of the woman pierced through his doubts, Daniel couldn't shake the feeling that every painting around them was just a reflection of their own life. They were the artists of their own story, but would their canvas turn into a masterpiece or a chaotic mess? With a glance exchanged, the air between them surged with tension and excitement. What would that leap of faith look like for them? "I can't believe she just said that," Sarah whispered, glancing at Daniel. The older woman had slipped back into a corner, still assessing the gallery with a bright smile, leaving them to digest her words. Why did it feel like everyone around them was so certain, while they were drowning in uncertainties? That leap, it feels monumental, Daniel admitted. He wiped his clammy palms on his jeans, trying to shake off the weight of the situation. Every leap has a risk, doesn't it? Sarah nodded, pulling her hair back as if it could clear her thoughts. But the risk might be necessary. Her voice trembled but was laced with hope, as if the idea of taking that leap was beginning to ignite something inside her. Is that how you really feel? He pressed, his heart hitching at her words. You want to jump, to risk everything? What if we stay here? What if we don't? She turned to face him, her eyes shining with determination. If I don't chase my dreams now, will I always wonder what could have been? Doubts turn into regrets, he murmured. The idea chilled him, and he felt as if they were drifting further apart with each passing moment. Before he could gather his thoughts, the older woman returned, a twinkle in her eye. You both look like you're on the edge of something wonderful. Art is about exploration, you know. Life is too. With that, she pointed toward a series of bold illustrations on the wall. Have you seen these? Each stroke tells a refugee's story, their struggles, their breakthroughs. They didn't shy away from uncharted territory. They embraced it. Daniel noticed Sarah's face light up. The older lady was right. Art was a language of possibility, a window of raw emotion that pushed through boundaries. But what if we fail? Daniel couldn't help but voice his fear. With failure comes learning. And learning can be beautiful, the woman replied gently. Trust each other. You'll find your balance. Sarah turned to him, her expression shifting. Do you trust me? That question punched through him, leaving no room for half-truths or doubts. He opened his mouth to respond but hesitated. Trust wasn't just a word. It was a leap of its own. He felt the gravity of her expectations deep in his bones. What if I do let you go? What if it's too painful? Her hand found his, fingers intertwining. Daniel, it's about how we grow together. If you want me to thrive, I need to chase this. She was right, wasn't she? They had been dancing around the fear of losing each other instead of embracing the potential of their relationship. Could holding on mean actually letting go? The weight of her words settling between them was palpable. In that moment, clarity ignited inside him like a spark. Then let us figure this out together. We don't have to choose between us or your dreams. Let us build a life that holds both. Sarah's eyes brightened as tears welled up. Together? Yes, together, he affirmed, a sense of determination rolling off his tongue like a promise. But as he spoke, he wondered if it was really that simple. Would others accept this new version of their relationship? Would their changes tear some seams they could never stitch back together? Just then, the older woman chimed in again, creating isn't just about selling art. It's about sharing your truth. What will yours be? Daniel felt a surge of inspiration mixing with apprehension. What if their truth was yet to be discovered, yet to be defined? He glanced over to Sarah, about to answer, when a loud crash echoed from the gallery. A piece of art vivid and chaotic had fallen, shattering into pieces. The gallery fell silent, and all eyes turned to them, as if the very air held its breath. What had they been thinking, believing they could piece their dreams and relationship together with no cracks? As the pieces scattered like their hopes, Daniel felt a knot in his stomach. Was this just the beginning of their unraveling, or an opportunity to reconstruct something new? They stood there, suspended in uncertainty, their hearts facing a new kind of canvas. What would they paint next? The gallery was wrapped in a tense silence, all eyes on the shattered canvas. Daniel felt the tension in the room, a heavy weight on his shoulders. The vibrant colors that had once captivated them now lay fragmented on the floor, a loud reminder of fragility. Sometimes art becomes something beyond our control, the older woman said gently, kneeling to gather the pieces. We create, we break, and then we create anew. Her words lingered in the air, an echo of possibility. Daniel turned to Sarah, who stood as still as a statue, her eyes glued to the chaos below. He couldn't help but see the parallels. They were both standing on shaky ground, risking everything. Maybe we need to embrace the chaos, he suggested, his heart racing. This can be a reset for us, a chance to create something new together. Sarah looked up, uncertainty flickering in her gaze. It's not that simple, Daniel. If we keep trying to direct every brushstroke, we might lose sight of why we started painting this picture in the first place. He reached for her hand, clasping it tightly, grounding them both in the moment. Let us not forget. Every great piece of art tells a story of struggle and transformation. We have the power to be the artists of our lives. We just need to trust that we can navigate our way through this. As the gallery staff began to clean up the mess, Daniel felt the energy shift. The nervous coiling in his chest began to untangle. What if we let go of the need for perfection and focus on what we genuinely want? He proposed, his voice steady and quiet. Sarah's eyes began to shimmer with unshed tears, and he could see her heart cracking open. You're right. We've both been holding too tightly, she said, her voice thick with emotion. Maybe we need to listen to our own hearts instead of letting fear dictate the choices we make. Exactly, Daniel replied, his relief palpable. Art is meant to be messy, just like life and love. We can allow ourselves to be imperfect, to embrace the beauty of what we create together. They both stepped back, eyes widening as they took in the scene, the flickering energy of the gallery, the staff working swiftly to adapt. And in that moment, amid the shattered glass, there was acceptance. The chaos reminded them that beauty could emerge from brokenness. Together, Sarah whispered, looking at the remnants of the fallen painting, we'll build anew. We'll redefine what us means. Daniel smiled, sensing the warmth radiate between them. This time, let us paint without limits. Let us add the colors of our fears, dreams, and hopes. Whatever happens, we'll figure it out as we go. With newfound resolve, they shared a hug, pulling one another into the comfort of understanding. No longer stood the fear of loss. There was renewal and connection. The fractures in their lives could unite them, bind them through an artistic spirit that thrived on creativity and love. As they left the gallery, hands intertwined, a sense of liberation washed over them. Outside, the sun shone brighter than ever, casting a warm glow over Maplewood. Daniel glanced at Sarah, her face alight with hope. They had faced uncertainty and emerged with a promise, a commitment to intertwine their stories. Together they would venture forward, embracing not just their successes but the bumps along the way. They weren't perfect. They were human, real, and resilient. Let us make a pact, Daniel suggested lightly. No more holding back. We chase our dreams, supporting each other in every twist of the journey. Sarah nodded, her heart full. Absolutely. We're stronger together. It's not just about our individual paths. It's about creating a tapestry that includes both. I'm in, he declared as they moved forward, stepping into a future alive with possibilities. As they walked hand in hand, their hearts pulsed in sync, a dynamic rhythm echoing the excitement of what lay ahead. They felt a renewed sense of purpose, not just as individuals but as a partnership bound by love. Love that would weather storms, rebuild broken pieces, and shine through it all. This was their moment, a launching point into a vibrant unknown, where every leap would blend their dreams and stories into a masterpiece. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. This is the moment to show your support. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. I want to hear from you. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.